Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jessica Finn and I am the membership manager at NFRC. And we also have Carrie Harp that's joining us on the call today. And many of you may be already familiar with her, but she has been managing the Efficient Windows Collaborative for the last 10 years and involved with it much longer than that. So we're really looking forward to sharing with you what we've been working on with the Efficient Windows Collaborative, as well as the window selection tool. So before getting into the window selection tool, and I just want to give you a little bit of history and talk about what we've been working on. So we'll go over a brief history of the NFRC and the EWC and why this all makes sense in what we're doing and what we are currently doing, what our future activities are going to be for the EWC, what the membership structure looks like as far as the EWC and NFRC. And then we're going to look at the efficientwindows.org, look at the website, what resources are available there, and then we're going to review the window selection tool, what a search in that looks like, as well as how you can get your products listed in the tool, as well as support the EWC. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please put them in the question box. We'll do our best to answer them as we go. And if not, we'll make sure that all questions get answered at the end of the presentation. So as Deb Callahan, our CEO, said, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but she said it really well, is that we have the opportunity to expand upon the success of the EWC and highlight the environmental benefit, comfort, and value of energy efficient windows, doors, and skylights for all consumers. So just going to look at the background of both organizations. So NFRC was formed in 1989 and is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and it was founded by industry members. And as you probably are aware of, we established objective window, door, and skylight energy performance ratings to help you compare products and make informed purchasing decisions. So, and the Efficient Windows Collaborative was, sorry, I'm hearing a little bit of, okay. The EWC was formed in 1996 and began with funding from the Department of Energy to work with the University of Minnesota, the Alliance to Save Energy, and Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. And it was developed to create resources to link the technical and human considerations that influence window and facade design, selection, and use. And since then, it's grown into being the efficientwindows.org, and that includes the window selection tool. So the two organizations have really nicely aligned missions, and with the information tools and the brand awareness of the EWC, plus the resources that we have at NFRC, we'll be able to really maximize our impact. So the mission of NFRC is that we are committed to advancing the continuous improvements of windows, doors, and skylights, contributing to making buildings more comfortable and energy efficient. And this is the original mission of the Efficient Windows Collaborative, and we just think that moving this really aligns nicely with NFRC, but is to expand the market for high efficiency fenestration products and to make Energy Star and NFRC labeling a universal practice in the US. And with the missions of both organizations, it's a great opportunity for our members and participants to get involved to support the mission of both organizations. So the progress that we've made since the acquisition in January of 2020, we've been very busy. To date, we've been able to update the website. We were able to incorporate NFRC branding, being able to give consistency throughout our website platforms. And right now we are continuing to go through every page of the website just to make sure that if we need to add or update any content. And we anticipate this step to be done by the end of the second quarter. And right now, the window selection tool is open for enrollment. As of January, we were accepting new manufacturers into the window selection tool. And I'll talk about this a little bit later in the presentation in more detail. And then the next phase, we're really going to be focusing on rebuilding the window selection tool. We have a great foundation that we're working from, but moving forward, we want to make sure that the process is streamlined and relies a lot less on manual input on both sides, both for manufacturers as well as for us. And we also want to make sure that we can easily adapt it to include new ratings and fields, as well as incorporate any new technology. So now I'm just going to talk a little bit about efficientwindows.org. I hope that you've had the opportunity to look at the website, and if not, I really encourage you to check it out. It has some great resources that you can use as well as pass along to your consumers. So this website is a single resource for people looking to buy new or replacement windows. So I'm not going to go through the whole website in detail, but I'm just going to try to give you some highlights of some of the resources that are available. The first one, measuring performance. This talks about the NFRC ratings, and it explains them in a way that consumers can understand when they're shopping. Next is design considerations, talking about everything from views to getting fresh air when you're looking at replacing or getting new windows. And then it looks at the benefits of energy efficient windows. We want to make sure that people who visit the site choose to replace their windows over other products and what the importance of replacing your windows is. Everything from energy and cost savings to increased light to improve comfort. And it addresses terminology and technology so that people are familiar with that when they're shopping. So operating types, gas fills and glazing and frame and spacer types. And then there's also a selection process, and this is separate from the window selection tool. This just walks consumers through the steps of making a new purchase, looking for things like Energy Star's NFRC label, all the way through making sure that their products are properly installed. And it talks about the importance of that as well as giving resources. So this is just a snapshot of some of the analytics, like how many people are coming to the site. Just in the last 12 months, over 300,000 people visited the Efficient Windows Collaborative. And right now there's 2,345 product lines that are listed in the window selection tool. And also in the last 12 months, almost 105,000 people visited and used the window selection tool. So moving forward, we're going to be working to drive even more traffic and increase the engagement of people who are visiting the site. So now we're going to talk about the window selection tool. The window selection tool is a resource for consumers that will walk them through the process of choosing the best windows for their home. So at the end of this process, manufacturers who do have their products in the tool that meet the requirements for that specific search are linked for consumers to immediately click on. So now I'm just going to walk you through the process of searching for a window. So I'm just going to pull that up. Okay, so what you're seeing now is the landing page of the window selection tool. At the top of the page, you'll notice there's a new construction as well as replacement windows. So we're going to go to the replacement window selection tool, and you select a location. And I'm just going to choose Baltimore, Maryland. It's close to our headquarters. 2-story, and then a window. So and then the next page, it brings up even more ways for consumer to give more detail. So you can select which orientation, and then how big is the window area, small, moderate, or large. And just for this example, I'm going to go with moderate. And then you can even go as far as how the shading type. So I'm also going to select typical for that. And then I do want to bring your attention over to the right side of the screen. It does show you the Energy Star zone that you're located in, and it looks over the energy costs as well as some additional resources for your specific region. So when you click next, this is when it's going to come up with all of the products that meet your selection criteria. So you'll notice that there's 4 tabs along the top. And before going through each tab, I just want to show you a few things as you navigate through the tool. On the very top level, you'll see things like window systems and standards. And clicking on those will open up a box that explains in a little bit more detail what those headings mean. So in each tab, those are clickable and will expand to more information. And then on the next level where there's the headings, those are how you can sort. So say you want to sort by U factor, you can click U factor and it will sort your results. And you can sort by any of these headings. So the first page that we're on right now is the summary. And this goes over the basic things such as the number of panes, the glass, the frame, the NFRC ratings, which you'll notice is a range. And then the standards, performance, and the info, which will link to all of the manufacturers who have a product that meets your criteria. So the next tab is the Energy tab. And this shows the annual energy cost for a product. Electricity prices are based on average state-specific electricity retail prices, and that's data for the cooling seasons, which is May through September. And all price data is from the Energy Information Administration. And again, if you click on annual energy, it'll bring up more information about that. So the next tab is comfort, and this rates comfort for summer and winter. And the comfort analysis is performed using weather files for close to 100 locations in the US and Canada, and is to determine how often winter night and summer day comfort levels are compromised. Again, in clicking on comfort, you're able to access the complete methodology for this rating. So finally, condensation is the last tab we're going to look at. So this predicts if the interior glass temperature falls to a level in which condensation may occur. Just something to note is when we do update this, we will be incorporating the NFRC condensation index rating. But right now, it will predict whether none, minimal, or extensive condensation may occur. So before selecting the products, I'm going to just go back to the summary page. So when you click on products, this is when it'll bring up the full list of manufacturers who are in the window selection tool who have products that meet the criteria. I'm not going to click on it right now, but if you click on any of these products available, that will bring you to that manufacturer's website. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to our presentation. So now I just want to talk a little bit about getting involved and what the membership with NFRC and EWC looks like. And before the acquisition, it was 2 memberships. You could be a member of NFRC as well as a member of EWC. So now there is 1 membership, and that membership includes everything from outreach and education on both the NFRC as well as the EWC side. Your voice and your vote as far as participating in NFRC groups and voting, the discounts on program fees and event registrations, as well as networking. And this does include all of the outreach activities that the EWC was doing, as well as what we do with NFRC. So one thing that you will notice is that the window selection tool is not part of the membership, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute, but is now going to be available as a subscription. So just 2 ways that you can be involved and support the Efficient Windows Collaborative. The first is that you can list your products in the Windows selection tool with a subscription. So if you are a residential manufacturer, you can increase your visibility by having your products listed in the Windows selection tool. And then I know that there are quite a few companies that supported the EWC through an EWC membership. So if you still want to be able to show your support to the EWC, or if you hadn't in the past and are interested in that now, we have a sustainability sponsorship program, and there are opportunities starting at $500, and all sponsors are recognized on both the EWC and the NFRC websites. So for more information about that opportunity, you can email Jeremy Browning. So now we're going to get into the details on how you can have your products listed in the Windows selection tool. So there are 2 requirements to have your products listed. The first is that you must have active products in the NFRC Certified Products Directory. And the second is that they need to meet the Energy Star criteria for at least 1 climate zone. So here are the steps in having your products listed. The first is to complete the Windows selection tool enrollment, and we will send all that information out after the presentation. And then once we get that, we will send you a template to complete your product selection on, and you can send that back, and we'll get your products entered, and you'll receive an invoice. So once we receive your payment, you'll then be made active in the Windows selection tool, and your products will start showing up in searches for that they meet the criteria for. At the end of every year, we'll send you a report on how many times people have clicked through to your website. And then finally, you can renew for next year. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the template in a minute. Actually, Carrie's going to talk about that. But just while you're thinking of selecting your products, a few things to keep in mind. The Certified Products Directory is a fantastic tool and incredibly valuable, especially to manufacturers and people in the industry. But we want to make sure that we're not replicating that in the Windows selection tool. So while you're thinking about what products to select, products listed in the Windows selection tool should be a product line that is currently manufactured. And you also, again, make sure that they meet the Energy Star requirements for at least 1 climate zone. And they must align with one of the generic EWC 23 windows, and we'll talk about that some more in just a moment. And then we recommend that you pick the best performer within that product line. So I am going to turn it over to Carrie right now, who's going to talk about the window set and selection.
Thanks, Jess. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, that's awesome. So as Jess just mentioned, there are 23 generic products in the window selection tool. And there used to be 20. About 3 or 4 years ago now, we added fourth surface low E into the mix of the generic products that are available. So these are the 23 window sets. They represent both metal and non-metal frames in varying performances. Typically, Windows 10 and above are higher performer windows, or 9 and above are higher performer windows. The windows you see in the left column numbers 1 through 9, 1 through 23 actually, but those window numbers just represent the generic window number for the Efficient Windows Collaborative. And we leave the single clear, double clear, both metal and non-metal in there for comparative purposes. And as you can see from this chart here, we bucket the generic windows we put them into buckets by U factor, solar heat gain, and VT, because obviously the value for simulation is a single number. So in the very right 3 columns there, under values shown for U factor, SHGC and VT, you can see what the ranges are for those U factors, solar heat gains, and visible transmittance that align with that specific EWC window number. And you will get, when you sign up and fill out the spreadsheet, you will get this table to help you pick out which window is the appropriate window that aligns with your specific product. Jess, next slide.
There we go.
Did you want me to talk about this, or are you going to talk about this?
Yeah, you can go ahead. That would be great.
Okay. So the very first column there that says MPID, which means manufacturer's product identification, would be that number 1 through 23. And then you have a couple of columns to add some detail, series and options. Series is usually the series name of your product. And as Jess previously mentioned, there is, you want to limit the number of products that you put into the database, because you don't want to overwhelm the consumer with listing 1,000 products. So that's where you take advantage of this options column. You can say available with grids, or available with tint, or available with, you know, colored framed options on the laminate. You can fill out that options to reflect more of what is represented than just that single window that is chosen. And then in your NFRC values columns, you fill out the U factor, solar heat gain, visible transmittance, and the 0.30 for the air leakage. I think that's about it. Next slide.
All right. Thank you, Carrie.
Uh-huh.
And just one thing I wanted to mention, if at any point you have questions while you're filling this out, we're more than happy to set something up with you, Carrie, so we can help you get this filled out. So then finally, the fee schedule for the window selection tool is broken down very much like all of our other programs, but with member and non-member pricing, and it's also broken down by your sales category. And I know that the EWC had a sales category, but moving forward, it'll be whatever sales category you fall into for your for the product certification program. So then again, if you want to enroll, the link is in this presentation, which we will send out to everyone. But also if you go to nfrccommunity.org, it's under the membership tab on Efficient Windows Collaborative. So are there any questions? Doesn't look like there's any questions. So if anything comes up after the fact, please don't hesitate to email or call. We are happy to help. Thanks again for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.